How's it going, everybody? This is the Nitty Gritty. My name is Chad. With me, as usual, is Leonard. This is a show about pro wrestling. One of the things we do here are random match reviews, and we stumble upon them in various ways. This one came up as we were doing a fantasy stable versus stable match. King Booker's Court came up as a topic of discussion, and we thought to ourselves, have King Booker's Court ever actually been in a match together? And I have only found this one match, and it should be known that they are not really referred to as King Booker's Court throughout this match. I'm not sure if they had been coined that just yet, but it is that stable, and they are in this match, which took place on Smackdown August 11th, 2006, and it is King Booker's Court of King Booker, William Regal, Finlay with Queen Sharmell versus Batista and Bobby Lashley in a 3-on-2 handicap match.
Hall of Famer, Queen Sharmell.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I stand corrected on that. And, the little bastard.
Yeah. So Sharmell is in the Hall of Fame, but Regal and Finlay are not.
Yeah. Well, it's looking up for, I would guess both of those guys, but specifically Regal, who has been back with WWE for a while.
Well, and it's always a favorite of Hunter's, who is pretty much in charge of picking people for the Hall now. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're good friends, so I would imagine that William Regal will go at some point. But yes, so we decided to check out this match, which was a main event on SmackDown. And Leonard, did you watch this live?
No, I have no memory of this. I would have been watching probably both Raw and SmackDown regularly at this point, but anything from that period would be just a mush of memory.
Yeah, absolutely. I was not watching wrestling at this time. It should be known. This was an era, like I had been like a year or so out of college at this point, was moving in with the woman who would become my wife, doing all sorts of those fun early grown-up type things, and wrestling and the people that were on top were not really on my radar. They weren't. But since then, I've had a chance to go back and look at some stuff from this era. So let's examine this match. I am not going to go through it play by play as well as Leonard does his matches, but because this is your basic, tag /
Yeah, it's the main event of the show. There is a commercial break.
Yeah, there's not much to this, really. So it should be known that Finlay is the United States champion at the time, and I'll be honest, I did not remember that he had a run with this belt.
Yeah, I did not remember Finlay ever having a run with the U.S. title either, so I was kind of surprised when they said that. I didn't go look up what was around that, but, this was certainly a period where the belts, all the belts bounced around a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So the start of this match, you can basically see the strength of the two baby faces, Batista and Bobby Lashley. There is a lot of stuff between Batista and Finlay to start. Then it shifts to Bobby Lashley. There's a cool spot where they don't call it this. They call it a double shoulder tackle, but it's actually a double spear, which I feel like if you were doing that today, that would be a huge spot. But they kind of just, dismiss it here. But I do remember that. You have Finlay and Regal teaming up on Lashley, so to speak. Regal, either Regal or Finlay do the kick as the guy's hitting the ropes. This is all very textbook, trademark, match stuff going on here. Hornswoggle / the little bastard makes an appearance to interfere out of nowhere and, assaults Michael Cole. Because we're in that era, I guess, where Michael Cole is more a part of the storylines than anybody asked him to be. Mm-hmm. So then you have some stuff between Bobby Lashley and Booker T. Booker T gets a lot of offense in. The hot tag occurs with Batista. There's multiple slams going on and a spine buster, which ends the match. Booker T tries to hit Batista with the scepter and gets a spine buster for his efforts there. Just side note, the best scepter shot of all time occurred at the Royal Rumble when Savage hit Warrior. Like
Yeah.
that was to this day, I how Warrior had to have been injured, at least hurt, like because it looked full on between the eyes. Anyway, so that's the end of this particular match. There's nothing to it. This is the type of main event you would see on Raw and SmackDown every week. And really nothing of consequence. A lot of going through the motions at this time. It was pretty, I mean, TNA was around, but like WWE was on top and there was really no close second. So this is the type of content that they put on, and there wasn't really a ton of effort to it, in my opinion. But you got to see a green Bobby Lashley kind of coming up through the ranks here as well. So, Leonard, what do you think?
I did actually like the first half of the match before the commercial break. I thought the faces were very aggressive. I thought Lashley and Batista actually made a good team. There was a lot of quick tags. There was some double team moves. I think Regal and Finlay sold very well for them. But it was the second half where the heels took over that kind of blocked it down. And I did like the story of Booker T being cocky on the apron but not getting in the ring. But then he gets in the ring. So at that point, it sort of bogs down. Hornswoggle gets involved, and the crowd did pop for that. And JBL was very funny with the jokes he was doing about this on commentary, but it's a dirty leprechaun that lives under the ring that is Finlay's son. It's dumb. It really doesn't need to be in there. Again, the ending was very pedestrian just to set up Batista versus Booker for a title shot. So I really did like the first half, not the second half so much. I think I liked it a bit more than you did, and maybe watching it in a vacuum and not comparing it to everything else at the time. It's 2 stars. It's not horrible.
I mean, I would certainly go that route with you. One of the other things I wanted to comment on is the fact that this is a 3-on-2 handicap match, and Queen Sharmell gets involved, Hornswoggle gets involved, and the heels still lose.
4-on-2, more or less. 4-on-2, basically.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I don't quite get the logic there. I really don't. But it is what it is. I think that Booker T did well with this role, and I think that the stable itself, seemed okay, overall. As far as JBL's commentary, like he was doing his very best heel Ventura, color commentary role here. And sometimes it was funny. Sometimes I felt that it was just way over the top, like in terms of like how he'd be excusing the heels. I felt like if I'm comparing him to Ventura, like Ventura would always try to use actual logic to defend the heel's actions, whereas after Ventura left that post, the heel commentators would pretty much just, root for the heels with, there might not be any logic to it at all.
Yeah, it's just I'm the heel commentator. This is what I do. Where Ventura would sometimes get on the heels or support the faces if they did something that made sense to him.
Right. So yeah, I would go 2 stars with you here. If I were a big fan in this era and I went to this event, I suppose I'd be satisfied to a certain degree. I believe it was still taped at this point. So yeah, if you remember this match, or if you know of any other King Booker's Court matches that we do not know of, please let us know. If there are any unearthed classics, right, Leonard?
Probably not classics, but anything unearthed.
Right. So yes, let us know in the comments. Please hit the like button on our video and subscribe to our content. Every little bit helps. And we have other videos as well, segment surgery. We have full-length episodes. We are also available wherever you listen to podcasts. So, Leonard, before we go,
Yes.
let's unveil our new ending segment.
Yes. So recently at a thrift store for $5.99, I picked up this game that you watching on YouTube can see. It is the World Wrestling Federation scratch logo, Attitude and Review game, 3rd edition with new photos and questions for ages 8 and up for 2 to 6 players from Cardinal. I was going to look up the year, so I'm not sure of the year, but it was before the WWE name change. And inside there were no instructions, and I couldn't find instructions. But there are trivia cards. And so what we're going to do is do a couple of the trivia questions at the end of videos for a while. We'll see how that goes. So the questions are numbered 1 to 5, and the first 2 are multiple choice. 3, 4, and 5 are not. It appears they get harder as you go up. So, Chad, do you want to pick a level of questions?
Let's start in the middle.
Okay, so 3. Question 3. Who did Haku and Andre the Giant win the tag titles from in 1989?
Haku and Andre the Giant?
Yes, they won the WWE tag team titles in 1989.
Was that Demolition?
It would be Demolition. That is correct. All right, you want to go to 4?
Sure.
Let's try 4. Who was the first to win the women's title 3 times?
First person to win the women's title 3 times.
And keep in mind, this is like pre-2000.
Yeah. Geez, pre-2000. I mean, my gut would, but this she might be over that. Like, it's not Trish Stratus, right?
No, it would be before she would probably be managing only at this time.
So
that the game came out.
Would it be Alundra Blaze?
No, it is the Fabulous Moolah.
Oh, geez.
Because
you know what always throws me with Moolah is that, like, for a while there, she would say she was like the undefeated women's champion for like decades and decades, but she did lose. So
yeah, I know. Well, she dropped the title to Richter, and then she won it back from Richter.
Yeah,
and then I think she dropped it to Sherry and won it back from Sherry. I'd have to look all that up, but
yeah.
So
all right,
why don't we do? Okay, you don't know question 5. I'm just going to tell you do not know the answer to the 5th level question.
Try me.
Who was the first president of the World Wrestling Federation?
The first president?
First president of the World Wrestling Federation.
Vincent J. McMahon.
Willie Gilzenberg.
That was my next guess.
Yes. Also, Celebrity of the Week is Steve Blackman.
Celebrity of the Week. Okay.
Steve Blackman. And
so are you able to ask yourself these questions, or do you automatically see the answers?
No. So questions on the front, answers on the back. So I would.
The next time we'll have to do.
I would ask I would go through the questions I'm doing, and then we would have to look at the answers.
All right. Well, that was fun. And I'm gonna go look up the presidents of the WWF throughout history.
Yeah, we're gonna do an unstable stable of WWF presidents.
We're gonna do that show next. It'll be our lowest view.
I think we probably need to throw in commissioners too, maybe flesh it out a little bit.
Oh man. Anyway, so thank you for checking us out. We will see you next time.